We've got new data that shines a light on how Xbox games are performing. If there's one thing in this world that I love, well, I love a lot of things, but data is one of them. It shines a light on how things are performing. It's scientific, it's actionable, it's tangible. And our friends over at Steam have given us some new data about how Xbox game studios are performing on the PC. Now, this shines a light on just the health of the game industry for Microsoft and how well their titles are being received by their users. And so every year at the end, Steam puts together a list of their top sellers, their new releases, their controller-friendly titles. And this year, we have a look at how Microsoft game studios are performing. Now, we already knew that the games were pretty well liked because Metacritic said, hey, like all these titles were 85 or upper 80s or low 90 scores. Microsoft have been doing pretty well, but the PC is always just a little bit different than the console or the review critics. And so let's just dive in to some of the data here. So first up, we have the new releases. Now, it's important to understand how Steam catalogs this stuff. They say that platinum releases or platinum branding titles are 1 through 12. And also keep in mind that where they are positioned inside the little world of Steam doesn't correlate to 1st or 12th. Microsoft. Steam says that they randomize it to kind of hide some of that data, but just know that platinum is 1 through 12, gold is 12 through 24, silver is 25 through 40, and bronze is 41 through 100 placing there. So on the new release category for Steam, keep in mind this is on the PC, for platinum releases, Forza Horizon 5, Halo Infinite, and Age of 4 all landed up in the platinum category, which means that they were exceptional releases this year for Xbox Game Studio, from Microsoft in general. Also, Deathloop came in the gold. So of that, they had 4 titles that landed in the top upper echelons of the world of PC gaming, which is pretty good for Microsoft. Now, there's some notable exceptions here, which we'll talk about as we go through this. For example, where's Flight Sim? Flight Sim came out in the summer. We know that that has a very loyal following, but keep in mind that this is new releases and this is in terms of revenue and a lot of metrics go into this. And I can understand how Flight Sim is very much a niche product, but is also sort of a flagship product for Microsoft. And so it's a little bit surprising not to see it potentially in their new releases. Over on to most played. Now, this has some interesting data as well, because when it comes to most played, the only platinum title from Microsoft was Halo Infinite. Now, that is a free-to-play multiplayer title, so keep that in mind that Halo Infinite, by going that route, very clearly jumped to the top. And maybe that's part of why they have these crazy gaming or monetization mechanisms, is that they've got so many people in there, and if they get a small percentage to pay $20 for whatever that crazy price was for the Master Chief voice, then they break even real quick. Who knows? They had 0 in gold, by the way, and then in silver, they had Age 4, Forza Horizon 5, and Sea of Thieves, a classic title Microsoft has in the catalog, still doing quite well in 2021. Now, a more, I guess, Xbox games-friendly sort of title here is the controller-friendly Arena, and so they had 2 titles that landed in platinum. They had Forza Horizon 5 and also Halo Infinite, and then also, somewhat interesting, in gold, they had Forza Horizon 4, showing that Horizon does very well with the PC gaming market, and very clearly it's controller friendly, which is why it did exceptionally well there. On the top sellers, now this is overall top sellers. This doesn't mean new games. This doesn't mean games only released in 2021. This means overall, and Microsoft actually had 0 in platinum. That's not honestly all that surprising. Keep in mind that this is on the PC, but games like Dota, League of Legends, those types of titles reign supreme in that platinum category, and there's a reason why they keep getting updates and monetization mechanisms and newer content, is because they continuously sell exceptionally well on the PC. Now, into the gold segment though, Microsoft actually has 3 titles. They have Forza Horizon 5, they also have Forza Horizon 4, and they have Sea of Thieves, all landing in the gold segment, which means that they are in the top 50, or even realistically like the top 25 at that point. Which is really, really good for Microsoft. I mean, just considering that they're this has come from the company that makes Dynamics and Excel. They also have a bunch of games in the most played games on PC. Now, in silver, we see titles like Halo Infinite and Age 4, and then only for this category dropping down into the bronze, to try not to dilute this entire video about talking about bronze titles. We do see Flight Sim, but interestingly enough, we also see that Halo Chief, Master Chief Collection, and Age 2 was also on this list for top playing games. Now, This is really good data for Microsoft because it effectively shows that, hey, their titles that they're launching are performing well, not only on console and other places, but also inside of Steam. Steam is a massive juggernaut, as everybody knows, in the PC sales arena. And keep in mind that Microsoft sells games outside of Steam too. They also sell them in their store, and there's also other ways to get them. So this isn't a definitive only way to get Microsoft games, but it's definitely one of the more priority locations. One thing that I would really like to point out that we did not talk about in any of those lists is Minecraft. Now, we know that Minecraft is an exceptional seller for Microsoft. They just talked about, I think it was over 1 trillion minutes of content on YouTube for Minecraft, and we see that it is a very popular title all across the gamut, but yet it doesn't land in any of these lists. So why is that? Well, I don't have the exact answer, but there's a couple different theories about this. One, Minecraft sells on a bunch of different platforms, right? You can get it on the console, you can get it on anything. Let's just be clear. You can play it and buy it just about anywhere. So it's not only on the PC. Also, Microsoft may not just be targeting the demographic that typically is buying content on Steam. If you think about it, Steam is typically like your FPS style player, or your Dota or your League of Legends. Like that it's more of a higher end hardcore gaming mechanism, and that's not necessarily what you would see from a title like Minecraft. It's much more in the casual arena. That doesn't mean it's not selling well. It was just interesting to note that it did not show up in these lists. I'd be curious to know why you guys think that Minecraft wasn't showing up here, despite they dropping a bunch of different updates throughout the year and pushing Minecraft content very frequently. It just seems like maybe the demographic isn't rightly aligned for Steam top sellers, and the fact that it's sold in so many different places, I think, potentially hurts against them in a list like this. The point being is that the year ahead just continues to show that Microsoft now, it's not that they didn't understand how to conceive a game, buy a studio, and then develop it and then ship it and market it. Microsoft has proven now consistently that they did it. I think 2021, I want to say, still new year, still working through some of this, that 2021 was a definitive year for Microsoft in the ability to ship multiple high-end games and do it in a way that sells and ships on a cadence that resonates with users. Now, there's going to be a little bit of downtime. Obviously, that always happens in some of the first half of 2022. That's just kind of typical for the gaming release segment, at least for Microsoft, and then they like to load that back end when people are looking at buying consoles or renewing their Game Pass subscription. They know they need to get titles in around when those big drops occur. So keep in mind, as Microsoft continues to push those big titles, when they drop is a very interesting time. And so trying to align that up to when renewals occur, you guys understand what I'm saying. Anyways, I'll be really curious to see how Microsoft navigates 2022 with its gaming titles. Very clearly in 2021, they had good success with their cadence and ability to deliver. They didn't have any major faults. While Halo Infinite did launch and it's still considered a rough shape, it's still, I think the industry pretty much agrees, the foundation is there and it's going to become an excellent title. They just need to get through some hiccups, unlike, say, Battlefield, which had even bigger issues. Anyways, that's all we got for now, guys. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, if I could enunciate, and we'll catch all of you right back here next time.